Monday morning, my friends. Yes, first winter storm warning in effect for part of Michigan, the very northwest part of the Keweenaw Peninsula or Keweenaw County. I guess we should say under a winter storm warning for up to 10 inches of snow overnight tonight. And we have a little swirling snow system that's going to come down into a limited area of lower Michigan too. So let's get to it and show you what's going on there. Yeah. How quickly the talk changes from, hey, who's got the best fall color, to, hey, where's my snowblower and all that stuff. We don't need that quite just yet, but we know it's coming, don't we? All right, so here's where the winter weather advisories and winter storm warning are in effect. The purple, winter weather advisories for some of the lakeshore counties across the UP, and then a winter storm warning there in the pink shading, the Keweenaw Peninsula, I guess we'd say, for 3 to 10 inches of snow overnight tonight and tomorrow morning. So, radar showing that, yeah, indeed, it is cold enough that the precipitation has changed to snow in the Northland, even at Gaylord. We get our first snowman made by the National Weather Service office on a high hill in the Gaylord area this morning. So you can have some rain and snow showers in northern lower Michigan, southern lower Michigan. Pretty quiet right now, although this is the environment where we get a spurt of rain here and there. And as we get toward night, it's even cold enough to see some wet flakes of snow in there. All right, now the model shows you this swirling compact storm system that I'm going to be watching for you. And it's going to put down some snow, but remember what we're dealing with. Warm ground, warm roads, temperatures a couple of degrees above freezing. So as the snow falls, it's also melting away. So it's got to fall faster than it melts, which will be the case in some places. So here's the radar forecast as we go to noon today. And, you know, Saginaw, southward through Lansing, Ann Arbor, the Detroit area, you can have a quick rain shower, and yeah, don't be surprised if on the windshield you think you see a snowflake mash in there too. It could. So nothing really too substantial today. You could just stay mostly dry and kind of on the chilly side for most areas. This is overnight tonight. Look at that storm system coming out of Minnesota across Wisconsin. It hits the lake. Of course, the lake is still quite warm with water temperatures in the 40s. So that tends to really hinder the chance of snow. But it's going to be so cold aloft that it would be cold enough, well cold enough at about 5,000 feet up for snow. It's just, can the snowflakes live until they come toward the ground? And I think they can. This is tomorrow in the afternoon, and you could see snow around Ludington and around Irons and around Big Rapids into the Mount Pleasant area. And the thing with this system, with the swirl down at the south end of Lake Michigan, you'll have an easterly wind in this snow, so you won't have the warm air coming off the water, as opposed to a lake effect snow where the wind is out of the west off of the warm water and oftentimes changes the snow quickly to rain. So basically what we're looking at is tomorrow morning into afternoon, we're going to see an area of rain and snow move across the southwest, south central part of the state. Even in the evening, Ann Arbor and Detroit could get into some snow showers. And then we kind of transition a little bit to a brief little lake effect snow shower pattern. So, you know, with the warm ground, we will have some accumulations, but I feel like the best way to look at this is going to be with, we'll look at it two ways. Snowfall from the model, and you'll see some surprising little spots that are up 3, 4, 5, 6 inches. But I also like to look at the snow depth in this case, because the model will forecast the melting as the snow falls, and so snow depth will be a much lower number than snowfall. And in the end, it's fairly transient because the ground is still so warm. So as soon as the snow stops and we get above the freezing mark, it starts to melt. But let's go through the day today. And you can see a dusting in the northern parts of lower Michigan and across the Keweenaw Peninsula. You could see an inch or two. Then we go through the night tonight, and you see that storm system come across Wisconsin. And as we go through tomorrow, you see it come into southwest lower Michigan. Where you see gray, that's an inch or so. Where you see blue, that's 2 or 3 inches. Where you see that purple, like by north of Muskegon, Pentwater, east of Pentwater, that's 6 inches. Now, again, it won't pile up and last as 6 inches, so let's go to the snow depth, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So this is that same time period, and a lot of the places that just have a light snow, Carmelita asked, do I need to get my snow shovel out in Ludington? I wouldn't. Mother Nature will take care of it at this time of the year. So there's your snow depth by the time we get to Tuesday night. And across the UP, some places could have 6 inches. And, that little spot around Muskegon, north of Muskegon to Pentwater, could have 3 or 4 inches. So we'll just have to keep an eye on that. Otherwise, places see it melt. Now, how things change again. We start with low temperature forecasts. We always look at how warm is it going to get in the afternoon. In this case, we're going to start to look at how cold is it going to be. Tomorrow morning, down to around 30. But Wednesday morning, our first widespread, everyone hard freeze, making it all the way down into all of the Detroit area, even down to Monroe, all the way down into northern Ohio. So look for 25, 26, 27 degrees, a lot of places. Maybe the exception just right along the Great Lakes shorelines within a couple of miles, you could stay a touch warmer. Thursday's cold too. Friday a touch warmer in the 30s. Saturday back to lows in the mid to upper 40s. Sunday in the 40s for lows. So some warmer temperatures are coming in the afternoon. I have that for you next. Next Monday, next Tuesday, and next Wednesday. And this model wants to bring another snow system in 10 days out. Not convinced that will happen just yet. High temperatures today will be chilly. Low 40s in the south, upper 30s in the north. Tomorrow's about 40. Wednesday's about 40. Thursday's back to the upper 40s. Friday, a lot of us in the southern half up into the low 50s. Saturday in the low 50s. Sunday maybe approaching 60 degrees near the border, but otherwise temperatures in the 50s. And then, of course, we're at the time of the year, about every 7 days, we get a cool down on the way. So let's look at the big picture now. Let's look at the European model out into the future and give you an idea of what's going on this week. It's really a fairly quiet week. After we get our little system rotate through tonight, tomorrow morning, we dry out. Wednesday looks dry, Thursday looks dry, Friday looks dry. Pretty quiet. Just very late fallish type temperatures, but not real wet. Not like last week, certainly. Next rain, of course, Saturday. We're in that pattern where it happens on the weekends. And then it might start to turn a little more active as we get into next week. And there's that snow that the European shows. But again, too far out to really concentrate on something like that. So we do have quite a bit of weather to get through here. We're going to see our first snow. Get ready for it. It's not something that's going to last and be the start of winter, so don't worry about that just yet. But I also want to remind you, read my post on MLive. I have some misconceptions that you need to know about this winter. So we're going into this winter with an El Nino, and of course we have a warming globe. So the forecast, the winter forecast from NOAA, and I agree with it, reads warmer than normal and drier than normal. It's a winter forecast, December, January, and February. I looked back, some of these strong El Nino years have had snowstorms in November before the El Nino abnormal warming starts to kick in. Usually we found, although we don't have but, you know, a couple of handfuls of these years, but usually we found that around Christmas time is when the, you know, where you realize, hey, how come we're not getting colder? We're staying in the 40s. That's about the time that we usually say that the El Nino warming pattern is starting to kick in the northern part of the country. So just because we're going to have probably a couple of snowstorms here in November, one of them could be a biggie, that doesn't mean that the winter forecast is a bust already, because the winter forecast is for December, January, and February. All right? There, I feel a lot better now. Hey, thanks for joining me on the MLive Morning Weather Update. I'm MLive Chief Meteorologist Mark Torregrossa. Have yourselves a great Monday.